Fantastic performance once again, Mustafa Ali. Thank you so much for your time. This part of the show in Morning Baraka, we really like to start the morning with number one, the Quran recitation, but then number two, in order to really get closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, especially during the days of Muharram and Safar, is to really pick the du'as and the ziyaras that are associated with Muharram and Safar. Of course, we are constantly discussing this with our dear guest, Ibrahim Al-Ansari. Assalamu alaikum, Ibrahim.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. How are you?
We're doing well, alhamdulillah.
How are you? Alhamdulillah.
Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much for having me once again.
Brilliant. So I guess we've had a lot of discussions about the importance of Ziyarat Ashura, for example. We even dedicated 2 episodes to it.
Yeah.
What I've noticed is that there's a bit of a difference when it comes to the narrative and even the way the language that's used in Ziyarat Ashura and Ziyarat Arbaeen. Can you shed some light about that?
I think one of the main points in which we realize why there is a difference is who actually narrated the ziyarah. So Ziyarat Ashura, we said, was by Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salatu wasalam, whereas this specific ziyarah is by Imam Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam.
Right.
And like we've mentioned before, in the same way that the Imams, they had different ways in which they gave their teachings, and we mentioned that before, so no need to go over it again.
Yeah.
Another thing we realize is that their style in du'as is different as well.
Right.
In which we realize, so I'm going to just ask a question, we can talk about this. We see, for example, Du'a Kumail, narrated by Imam Ali.
Yeah.
And we find Du'a bi Hamza al-Thamali, narrated by Imam Zain al-Abidin.
Yeah.
There's a difference in that as well. Although the core is very similar. Although the core of that du'a and seeking closeness to Allah and asking forgiveness is very similar, but it's different.
So
Du'a al-Iftitah, sorry.
Yeah.
Say,
I'm really interested in this topic. We're going, go on.
No, so mine will be probably a simpler question. As in, is it the style you're saying that sort of they start off with beseeching Allah, praising Allah, then sort of...
No.
So how
it's
is
the
it
wording. It's the wording. There's always something different in the wording.
So is there? Can I look at a du'a and then find like a certain word or a phrase and then say, oh, okay, this one is associated with a certain imam?
Do you know what it is? A lot of our scholars, in fact, the way they know that the du'a is actually... So you know how we look at Senate?
Yeah.
We usually look at Senate. Our scholars, when they look at du'as, they look at what is included in the du'a, the way it is written, and through that they know what the Senate is. To the extent where even du'a bi Hamza al-Thamali, some people came forward and they said, this du'a has no Senate. Scholars came forward and they said, even if there is no sanad to it at all, and we cannot find a specific person narrating it,
we know from
we
the
still
language.
know that it goes back to the Imam.
Wow. Because
of what it includes. That is very specific.
So do you know on the top of your head any type of language that's used that's associated specifically with Imam Ali, for example?
I wish I would know. Honestly, I wish I would know. But I think this.
Well, I guess that's something for the viewers to actually go back.
Definitely.
If the viewers want to send in some of their findings as to if they can actually go back home and then look up different du'as or supplications to find a correlation between one that's specific to Imam Ali, that would be actually very fascinating to
educate us.
Definitely, inshallah. And another thing we realized, not only is it within dua, even in the speeches. So we realized the way Rasulullah used to talk is not the same way Imam Ali talked. The way Fatima Zahra talked is not the way Imam Ali talked. All of the Imams, the way their speeches worked, and we've mentioned before about Sayyidah Zainab and how the person, what did he specifically say? He says, كأنها تفرغ عن لسان أبيها, as if Imam Ali is talking. Didn't say it's as if Fatima Zahra was talking. And we know Fatima Zahra's speech was powerful. Fatima Zahra's speech was powerful and everyone heard it. Everyone heard it. But he didn't say it's as if she's talking like her mother. And that would possibly be the most relevant thing to say.
Yes, absolutely.
Because usually the daughter tends to be take more like the mother does. But he specifically said it's as if Imam Ali is talking because of the style of the speech. And similarly with the dua, the way the dua is said, the way the ziyarah is said, it just shows something else. And we see not only in this, and I think we possibly have a episode specifically for this, for Ziyarat al-Nahiya. Even that, the way you're approaching the Imam is different.
Can I just ask you, so in terms of the timeline, so Imam Zain al-Abidin was there at Karbala, came, and then we have Ziyarat Ashura, which is such a powerful ziyarah, miraculous. Ziyarat Arbaeen, said Imam Sadiq has written. In the time that it's in between sort of Imam Bakr, do the Ahl Bayt, are they reciting something in between that, or is this specifically for the followers that they've come, you know, written something?
You see, the Imams, not only do they do ziyarah, but they always tell their companions to do ziyarah.
Right.
And not only that, they always used to hold majalis in commemoration of the Imam.
Okay.
So there was constant remembrance of the Imam. Throughout time, Imam Baqir, Imam Sadiq, Imam Rida even, and Imam Rida, the reason I mentioned him specifically is because the very famous poetry done by Da'b al-Khuza'i that he recited by him, we see many teachings from that, a lot of teachings from that. And Imam Rida, when he comes and Da'b al-Khuza'i was about to say his poetry, he told him to stop. He said, recite it as you recite it. Da'b al-Khuza'i used to live in Iraq. And in Iraq, you know this whole na'i style in which you perform the musibah in specific tune, that was present from then. So he taught him to recite it like they do. These ziyaras, when they are narrated, they are usually said in how the Imam himself used to send his salutations to Imam Hussein.
Okay.
So even Ziyarat al-Nahiya, which we're going to get to inshallah in the next couple of episodes, whenever that is prepared for you, we see that specific ziyarah is Imam Mahdi's sending his salutations to Imam Hussein.
Right.
Ziyarat Ashura is Imam Zain al-Abidin doing that.
Okay.
Ziyarat Warith, which we went through last episode if you remember, it is also Imam al-Sadiq sending his salutations to the Imam in his way. So every ziyarah is specific to the Imam and sending his salutations to them. Alongside that, he will teach us.
Amazing, yeah.
And we take from them the best of examples. In لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ, يَهَدٍ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ, a great example. And the infallibles after Rasulullah, of course, are included in
so
this.
how comes, maybe if you know the answer or not, it's fine, but how comes there's a gap between Imam Zain al-Abidin and Imam al-Sadiq narrating the ziyarah of Ashura and Arbaeen? Although they're about a year apart, I would say, for like Ashura and Arbaeen, I don't know, narrations differ when it actually happened. Was it 40 days after or was it a year after? But let's just say it was a year. But then the difference between Imam Zain al-Abidin, the time difference between Imam Zain al-Abidin and Imam al-Sadiq was a good couple of years.
Definitely.
So what's the explanation there, if you know?
The thing is, with Imam Zain al-Abidin, Imam al-Sadiq, it isn't different narrations. Like I said before, it is their way of sending their salutations to the Imam.
Okay.
So there is no
so they're companions.
So time is not actually involved in here.
Right.
So for example, and without any tashabih, as we say in Arabic, so without comparison, but for example, if I was to sit here and I would send my salams to the Imam in a specific way, that is my way of sending my salams. Okay. The Imams, when they did that was their way of sending.
But having said that, so what you've just said is that their companions would have known how to send it basically because they had the Imam amongst them.
Yes.
So we aren't obviously with that direct contact, so we
have the narrators.
Yes, we have those.
Yeah, we have the narrators who give us how Imam Zain al-Abidin did it, so we do Ziyarat Ashura. And specifically, how Imam al-Sadiq did Ziyarat al-Arbaeen, which is why we do it at the time of Arbaeen.
Okay.
Specifically,
because that's become the norm now. That's become part of what we do when it comes to Ziyarat al-Arbaeen in terms of the actual actions associated with it. So
inshallah, until our own Imam comes, and inshallah we are guided.
We've got Ziyarat al-Nahiya from our own Imam, and that one is deep.
It's something else, isn't it? So going forward, would you like to recite what you've prepared, and then we can perhaps go into?
Definitely. So I chose this specific part from the Ziyarah, inshallah. اللهم إني أشهد أنه وليك وابن وليك وصفيك وابن صفيك الفائز بكرامتك أكرمته بالشهادة وحبوته بالسعادة واجتبيته بطيب الولادة فأعذر في الدعاء ومنح النصح وبذل مهجته فيك ليستنقذ عبادك من الجهالة وحيرة الضلالة، وجعلته سيدا من السادة وقائدا من القادة وذائدا من الذادة، وأعطيته مواريث الأنبياء وجعلته حجة على خلقك من الأوصياء. So that, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, that specific part of the ziyarah, the reason I chose it was because it includes a few very important parts. Number one, although it talks about how he is wasiyuka wa ibn wasiyik and his great status, he says akramtahu bishahada. So regardless of Imam Hussein's status, regardless of this extreme status that he had of infallibility, of closeness to Allah, of piety, on top of that, akramtahu bishahada, as in martyrdom was given to him as a karama. So as in the karama, when we talk about karama,
we know what it is in Arabic.
Yeah, but it's really hard to...
It's close. It's how you give a gift to someone, where you get them to be higher. You give a higher gift to someone, you higher in their status. So it's saying that Imam Hussein's status was uplifted and he was given a greater gift than the actual position he had as an imam by being granted martyrdom. So that, for number one, it increased in his status, what happened on that day. Not only does he mention that that was increased in his status, but it also says that before he was granted martyrdom, that he used to always give advice. And that he did not go into that part of going into martyrdom straight away, that part of going into war, unless he gave his full advice. And that is very important. Because Imam Hussein alayhi afdalu salatu wassalam, when he stood on the plains of Karbala, he clearly said, "Ma kharajtu ashran wala batira, wala zaliman wala mufsida." I did not go out because I just want to spend time, because I have no time, because I just want to do anything. I did not go out because I want to oppress. I did not go out to cause corruption. إنما خرجت لطلب الإصلاح في أمة جدي. I came out for nothing but to ask for goodness and to better the ummah of my grandfather. When? حينما رأيت أن المعروف لا يعمل به وأن المنكر لا يتناهى عنه. When I saw that good is not being enjoined and evil is not being forbidden from, خرجت, I came out لأأمر بالمعروف, to enjoin good and forbid evil. وأنهى عن المنكر, and very importantly وأسير بسيرة أبي وجدي رسول الله, and to follow the footsteps of my father and my grandfather Rasulullah. Meaning Imam Hussein, he did not go out on that day because he wanted leadership. He did not go out on that day to topple Yazid from his throne. No, he went out because he saw specifically that religion was taken astray. The people were not following religion as Rasulullah had taught them to be taught. Taught them to be done, sorry. So Imam Hussein alayhi afdalu salatu wassalam, firstly, he tried to give them nasiha, he tried to give them advice to better themselves, and then after which, when they rejected, the only way was to, after they started, and we're going to realize this in Ziyarat al-Nahiya as well, after they started war, he went on war against them in order to firm the religion.
Because it got to that point, but it's amazing, isn't it, subhanAllah, how the Ahl Bayt Imams are just constantly giving guidance to us, and that hasn't really ceased, and we haven't got much time, unfortunately. It's such a vast topic.
I think we just sat here, both of us, just listening, really attentively.
I really would like to know, obviously, both of you, just quickly, if you know, I'm sure you've been to Arbaeen. We've spoken in previous series.
I haven't actually.
You haven't?
Yeah, make dua for me, inshallah.
For the blessings of your
I'm
input
granted
here.
Arbaeen Ziyarah in the upcoming years, likewise for you and your families, inshallah.
Inshallah. So, Brother Ali, anything you'd like to sort of people who haven't been? What would you say is sort of highlight what it means to you on Arbaeen?
Arbaeen is just, it's a walk, or it's a journey where a lot of self-realization happens, because a lot of the time, the main part of Arbaeen is the walk itself. So you walk from Najaf to Karbala. A lot of people, they only, the outside of Iraq, those who haven't visited or those who just see on their social media, they see what's been given to them by the lens of the people there. And the people there, obviously, it's only at certain times can they record what's going on. But most of the time, I'd say 80 to 90% of the whole time you're there, you're either walking in silence, you're reflecting upon yourself, maybe you're having a very deep conversation with a friend, or maybe you're just contemplating about the person that you're going to, and every step that you're taking towards them, what's happened in your life so far. So you're more or less, you know, removing everything that's happened in your past and taking those steps forward to Imam Hussein salam to make sure that those steps forward is going to be the change that you take back when you go back to your home country. I think that's probably, in conclusion, the one thing that I'll give is if you really want time away from the whole, you know, the lifestyle of the West and the challenges and the priorities and the commitments that you have, and just to really take time away from that and to have a lot of time to yourself, it's the walk of Arbaeen, and I really recommend it to the viewers.
It's a walk of love, it really is, and I think if you experience it exactly how you're saying, it means so many different things to different people, doesn't it? And I hope everybody, inshallah, including you, brother, that you get to experience that walk. But unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. Inshallah, we'll see you another morning, and please do have a blessed day.
Likewise to the both of you, inshallah, and your beautiful families.
Thank
you very much. Of course, Zahra, as Zahra mentioned, we really do thank Ibrahim for his input and his insight into the Ziyarat of Arbaeen. As I mentioned, in terms of the lens that you know, people provide for you as to what happens in Arbaeen, Imam Hussein TV, of course, also provides that lens to bring what happens in Karbala, in Ashura, in Arbaeen as well, to the screens, to your homes. And what you'll see next is essentially what everything's about when it comes to Arbaeen, from the walk, from the sacrifice, the service, and then after that you'll see myself on Verses of Love, inshallah.